What's good, everybody? Back once again, and here for a little bit of this Marvel talk. Um, this real. I watched some videos, and everybody's talking about like Secret Invasion. The new show that's out right now, and watched a couple episodes of it. I was like, I think it's good. Nothing happened. I was like, it's been okay to good. It's it was one of my more anticipated like shows when we first got the original slate, for a few years ago before the thing happened. But right now, like except for one thing that happens, where I'm like, damn, they got Robin, and if you know, you know. And I like try not to do spoilers in case that people, there's some people that wait until they're all done and binge them all at the same time instead of going one by one. So if you know, you know. But Robin Sparkles is her name. But this is sort of I've seen everybody else talking about it, and basically, and the whole Marvel decline, the MCU type of thing, everybody talking about like the MCU and all this stuff, and it, I was like, it's funny because I was like, I remember, I think it was like 2021. When everything was supposed to get back on track with the, phase 4 and the shows and stuff like that, and to be honest, I was like, everybody was like still on like Marvel, but I was like, it, Endgame didn't really, I loved Infinity War. Endgame, I was like, I liked, and I was like, the one reason of why I was like, it was sort of bittersweet for me, but for the movie side of it, it just didn't. It concluded, but it wasn't. It wasn't everything the way I felt like in Infinity War, but still good, still fine. And then Spider-Man came out, and Spider-Man's always pretty much Spider-Man is barely going to ever fail. Like even when it failed, it's still Spider-Man. It's still good, Um, But I remember me and a friend was talking way before, everybody came out with these videos of like, like how the MC gonna do, and like now it's like great to like, there's a period where it was like great to bash on the MCU, and now it's like, now it's actually for real where it's like, oh, you can't even talk about like that. They're over exaggerating something like that. Like now it's actually more of a thing, or whatever. And to be honest, I believe this was always going to happen just because it was I was like, because Marvel was like so good for so long that it's one of them things that's like, you really can't be this good for so long. Yeah, yes, a director can probably do that for a long time, but like a whole studio that's connected in itself, that's really hard to do. But uh, but it was inevitable. But I was like, cause there was gonna be some people that don't like Marvel anyway. But it was always gonna be in the minority. The majority loves the Marvel movies. I was like, I love the Marvel movies. I was like the one that I was like, I mean, there's only like maybe like 3 or 4 that I'm like, that I'm like, they're not good. They're not for me. They're not my speed. But now I'm like, where I was like with those movies, I was like, but I'll watch it again. I was like, especially if I got like if like somebody else was watching it or somebody else wanted to watch it, I was like, I'll watch it again. Then like phase 4 hit and stuff, and then it was like, I don't want to. Like the only one I was like from that collection I could think of that I'm like, I will put on again to really watch is really Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi. That's about it. Other than that, none of there's maybe Multiverse of Madness. That's the only one I can really think of right now. I was like Guardians that came out, and Guardian was pretty good too. But Black Widow, no, no, I didn't. I was like, concept was cool. But I didn't like the movie. I thought the villain was very of his time. If you get what anybody get what I'm saying. Eternals. I was like, I liked Eternals. It's just too long. It was like But I'm not gonna like rewatch it again. It wasn't that type of movie of like being rewatchable, but it was a good movie when I just seen it. Um, I'm trying to think. I'm like Multiverse of Madness. Like I said, I thought it was good. I just thought that one, we sort of like they tricked us and we kept on going with it of thinking of the whole multiverse thing and it being drug out and stuff, and we came up with so much stuff in our mind that that's why the movie wasn't as good, and if we didn't have no clue about it. But they also, I feel like they didn't really, to me, they didn't really play with multiverse as much as they should have. A lot of stuff was just like minor tweaks, and I was like, I do get that if we're doing thinking about how multiverse is and how people talk about it, it is sort of minor tweak. But sometimes I'm like, yeah, but I'm like, but also show me like, whoa, that's crazy because of this one thing that happened or something. Um, Thor, get out of here. Yeah, nope, I'm not here for that. Um, and you know it's funny because I was like, people hate on the Dark World, but I was like, I like the Dark World, especially better than Love and Thunder, and really the first one to be honest. But cool, I'll be in the minority. But get out of here. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I thought how they did Chadwick, I was fine with that. I thought that was good. The movie was okay. Uh, Once again, if you would have told me way before, I was also hyped for that movie. The concept and everything sounded good for it. And then there was some of the stuff I was just like, no, I'm good. I mean, it was good concept, good thinking on some parts, and I was like, always the fighting is pretty good. So I'm like, but other than that, nah. Ant Man and Quantumania, Ant Man and Quantumania. If I think it's because it's so, it's like it's a I think it's a good movie, but it's also not Ant Man. Like compared to the last two Ant Mans, that's not what Ant Man is. So therefore, it's not the same movie. They didn't have the crew in there, and I was like, so that's sort of like different. I was like, I guess you can nitpick and stuff like it's one of them things that I'm like, it's a good movie. I think it's a good Marvel movie, but it's also like, when you know the Ant Man and how they were setting up stuff in the last couple movies, and then it comes to this, and it's like, and it really felt like it's like, okay, cool, they really want to set up this Kang stuff, and then they really also didn't set up any of the Kang stuff. Guardians, listen, it's James Gunn, so I feel like that's why it was like that, where it's almost like its own separate thing while also being part of Marvel. Um, but it was a really good movie as well. I was like that, so I was like, of course, I was like, I guess this is Phase 5, but still, um, no, so it's doing the thing. And I'm trying to run down these movies, and I guess the same thing with the shows, just to give like the thing. This is where my thought is going of like the shows. I thought WandaVision. I really liked I like how they were going. Then the last couple episodes I thought was trash. With I was probably shouldn't say trash, but I didn't like it. Of like I thought they should have still sort of kept with a little bit of the show thing, but then when they broke it off, I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then they just went into a fight that to me didn't really make sense. That was like, okay, cool. And I was like, all right, cool. We're just trying to set up for the next movie. Falcon and Winter Soldier, sort of a mulligan because I thought this could have been really good, the great, but because of the situation that we had in 2020 that affected the actual script that had 2020 things in it, they had to rewrite it because they felt that that'd be insensitive and stuff like that and whatnot. Which sort of makes me wonder of like, well, I mean, you're probably going to show that there was going to be some type of virus in general, but I'm pretty sure that y'all were going to probably have it in a everything's okay. So I'm kind of like, and I'm like, yeah, cool. I was like, I guess it's like so people ain't got to reminisce of like we just went through that, but I was like, there was a sort of a happy ending, and I was like, people love happy endings all the time. So, but it sort of gets a mulligan, but some of the stuff even in that was a little bit like, like the dumb speech, and it makes sense. We didn't really talk about Winter Soldier that much. I was like, I know it, uh, Anthony Mackie, Falcon's character becoming Captain America, but then we could have just did him more so than anything. But anyway, I really enjoyed Loki. Down with that. What if it was whatever? Um, the Hawkeye show. I didn't have a problem with it like most people. I thought it was fun. I would have gone. I would have taken it serious. Hawkeye. I was like, they really don't. They really didn't treat him really that crazy serious in the movies. So I don't know why I expected that out of him. I was like, Echo was there, and I was like, cool. That's what she sort of should be as a side character. But that's neither here and there with this show. Anyway, I didn't watch Miss Marvel. I was like, I only seen one episode of Moon Knight. Even still to this day, She Hulk. I was like, I haven't even watched that one. From all the stuff, I was like, meh, kind of with it. It didn't. I was like, and this sort of brings to the point of everything. It's like, what I remember telling my friend a long time ago was that, and I haven't really seen nobody really talk about it as much, but I always thought there was going to be a chance to fail after Endgame because since that's over, and you coming up with all these other shows, that oversaturation was going to be a thing. Where I'm like, okay, so now I gotta watch 4 movies and 4 shows, and it's like cool. There's time in between, but you give me so much, and then you give me so much of stuff that's like, oh, okay, what is this? What is that? And stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, for the old set of like Marvel stuff, that was sort of cool. But now it's like and I was like, now everything's connected. What should we do? But that brings to the second point. Nothing really connected. And that's where my other problem is that you set out and you said the multiverse, and I was like, which I sort of thought in-game multiverse stuff was going to drive a plot into the whole thing. Okay, cool. But we end up getting a whole bunch of stuff that has nothing connected, nothing to do with it. And I know early on people said that, and everybody's like, give us some time. We're getting really closer to that time, and it's like, what is going to be connected enough in a way for Kane to feel like something and like he's been around the whole time? Because really, other than like Loki and Quantumania, he hasn't really been there. He's not around, so it's kind of like he's a big bad. He's supposed to have his own movie, and he's been in a half. I mean, a one. I was like in Quantumania and sort of Loki, so I mean, 1.2. I don't know how to do the math on that, but I'm like, we getting like so many, but it's also too that I'm like, we're dealing with a threat, and it's like Kane, multiverse guy, very smart. I was like tech strong. I was like, all the other stuff, and it's like, but then I felt like they didn't, and it's like, okay, cool, but we're also doing like space stuff, and what does that got to do? But then we got regular people, unfortunately, like, yeah, we got, and it just felt like. And it's like, this would be cool if none of this stuff was ever fully connected the way that we had Endgame and Infinity War. If it was still like Avengers way, stuff like that, it wouldn't be that bad. It'd be fine. Bringing in Daredevil or bringing in Echo or, Hawkeye's successor, Miss Marvel, some of these younger folks or whatever like that. That would have been pretty cool. And I'm not even against the young Avenger aspect, because I'm like, you think about it, they've been going so long, and of course by now you're gonna have all those kids that seen all this stuff grow up and wanting to do something major. But it's like, okay, cool, but we're dealing with this type of threat here, there's space stuff here, and then we're like, okay, cool, what is Echo supposed to do? Oh, okay, well, we got other people like young Hawkeye. Okay, Black Widow, okay, we got her replacement. She actually could be a threat, but even though we don't see her in nothing. I mean, I know Thunderbolt's supposed to be something, so we'll see how that goes, if that gets going. But they had to pull so many projects, stuff like that. Things are being pushed back. And I'm like, yeah, because you just got so many projects, and you just doing projects. And I'm like, you could do that when we were doing our first couple phases, but it's now, and it's like, I know there's always a plan, but it just doesn't seem like a plan in the same way. It really just like seemed like, it's like, if this is from DC, I feel like people understand, like, okay, they're just doing movies and see what sticks. Let's see, people like that one, let's pull out the sequel for that one. People don't like that one, we're done. It's just gonna be a cameo. You know, that's not how Marvel doing it. Marvel seems really out of whack like that, and something that we was like. But also I at least speak with like the movie. I mean the movie more than the show. But I was like none's really been on point. I was like some of the stuff in the movie been like, ooh, oh, okay. It's like, and I was like, I'm not somebody that really notices like CGI and stuff like that. And I sometimes was like, oh, that look bad. I was like, I'm not somebody that's over here like the writing needs to be outstanding. The writing needs to be great. I'm not that person. I'm like, I just like a good movie. I just like not to waste my time. And a lot of times in here, I was like, that sounded dumb. That sounded like I wrote it. That sounded like me and my friend just spitballing writing it. Like that don't even like I'm like, why is that there? What is the purpose of this? Why like like that's and I'm like, I never felt that in any of the other movies at all. Nope. But a lot of these shows and stuff like that, I'm like, that felt clunky. What is that? And I was like, sometimes I'm like, okay, cool. We gotta see what it connects to. We gotta see where it's going. Yeah. So we went through phase 4. Shows and not movies. Phase 5 is like, I guess, I don't know, a quarter of the way there, and it's kind of like, yeah. And that's why I'm like, so many people getting fired while they're also bringing people back. I'm like, bringing Bob Iger back, but like canceling like a couple other people that was like doing shows, and I was like, it's just. I was like, it just seems like it doesn't seem like it makes a puzzle piece in the way we got so used to, and that's sort of the part that's like a little bit baffling in the whole thing. Yeah, but and I'm not really a big proponent of like necessarily always talking about like woke and stuff like that, just because I feel like on some level I'm like I know what the word actually was meant for. I know how it's been like co-opted or whatever. But like the better way to really say it is like pandering. Let's really be honest. And a lot of times in writing and stuff like that, and then it sort of just seems like they hired real new people here in a way where I'm like a lot of stuff just seems like it's like okay, I get it. Okay, I get it. All right, cool. I get it. When are you gonna do the superhero stuff? I was like, okay, cool. I understand. I was like, I think with some of the stuff they're not, like like the thing is that this type of stuff has been in movies and shows throughout. Like I was looking at like clips back in the day of like Batman animated series and Justice League and Static Shock and stuff like that. The thing is that when you go through a lot of these shows and stuff like that, like Spider-Man and stuff, that's like they had a lot of this same stuff in there, which I mean, whatever you want to say about like how far we came or whatever that crap. But I wouldn't say crap, but you get what I'm saying. But at the same time, they did a way better job of this. Like it was like where like you didn't notice it, but it still affected you. You still got it. You were still able to take something from it. And this way, it's not that it's like on the nose, but it's basically like it's like why are you even watching this show? You kind of thing, and it's like, well, fine, I won't watch the show then. It's like, well, I bet you won't watch the show. And it's like, well, you basically was like, why are you watching the show? It's like, yeah, cause I know why you won't watch the show. It's like, well, I mean, yeah, cause you keep on. I don't know what you want me to do. I was like, what should you do? And I was like, I don't know. It seemed like it's very much like that in a way that you could have just. I was like, it was great. I was like, you already had like I'm gonna just say an example, Captain Marvel and that whole thing. I don't mind Brie Larson. Brie Larson didn't bother me. I didn't really like the Captain Marvel movie. I thought it was just like or whatever. I also didn't. I think they also failed her setting it right up before Infinity War as well, or Endgame. I think they botched her being that type of person to come in for that movie as well too. But they're like, oh, finally a strong, and I'm like, you got Black Widow over here. You got Pepper Potts over here. Like, yeah, like, like I was like, but I was like, they're strong character even though they're not the main character. But I was like, neither was she. She wasn't the main character either. I was like, her powers were really OP, but I'm like, this person over here is leading stuff. She's over here taking out missions. She's doing stuff behind the scenes that you don't know what you're doing, and she helped your ass out. I'm like, Pepper Pot taking over the company and all this. I'm like, there's a whole bunch of them over here that y'all are really picking on. That is like, yeah, I know you're doing a lot of stuff, but you ain't this. And I'm like, but the whole point about being like, you can do multiple things. It was sort of like my beef I had of Sherry being the Black Panther. Wasn't that she shouldn't be Black Panther, but I'm like, she's really intelligent. She does all the weapons, and she got fighting skill. But I'm like, you don't always have to make somebody be strong or be a leader or things like that by actually putting them directly in like the queen role and being like, I could fight him, I could whoop your ass. And I'm like, no, strength come in different ways. And I'm like, she's intelligent, she's very smart. I'm like, funny, and she does have her personality is really strong. Cause I was like, what she set her mind to, she gonna do it. And it's like, cool, she'll get information, but she's still gonna do things her way at the same time. And I'm like, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. They don't have to be this over here. But I was like, all right, cool. I was like, we don't talk about like Ned just being like, the little chubby sidekick dude, but whatever. But I think even though those things exist, I think what also crushed Marvel really is 2020. I really do. I think that if they were able to release things how they wanted to release, I think they'd have been better. Because I think their lineup also changed. But I think that you could have still been able to ride a high that was there. But when you take off nearly a year and a half, and then your first set of movies are bleh. Because the thing is that, guess what most people did? They rewatched all your old stuff and was like, oh, this is great. I can't wait for them to come back. Oh, that was awesome. But then they also got used to not seeing anything new. In a way, and eerie enough, Endgame, and then it was the end. For, yes, there was there was some movies right after Endgame that still was there. And then it was like nothing. And it sort of did seem like it was the end to where people thought it was the end. And then when you come back, like, yo, we got a new hit for you. We got a new song for you. And then it's just like, oh, you had all that time to do that. Yeah, one's okay. Ooh, two. You know what they say? Third time's a charm. That wasn't bad. You know what? Hey. We're going to erase. Oh. But the show can't be. That was a good show. That was okay. That was a good show. That was a show. I watched it. That's when it starts to go off the rails. Just, and it's so quickly because it's and not like something like Law and Order that got pretty much the year to keep you going, or like any of them shows like that, like where it's like cool they could pull you back with a new episode, do something every week. It's like, nah, this is one big ass movie for the show. This is one big movie. You get 3 of them, and you strike out on 2/3 of them. You ain't got. I was like, look, we all been in school. Yo, that ain't a passing class there, my guy. Nope. But I think I think it's a little bit oversaturation. 2020, nothing connects. They also they haven't been good stuff either, and in general, but it's also like it's just there. And I was like, the thing is that everybody also started catching up of shows and stuff like that you're kind of like, and then things gotten more of like, oh, well, I want to see that movie, but as a mom, man, it used to be like guaranteed, oh, I'm going to watch more movie all day. And now it's like, oh, I'd be in Disney Plus in like a couple months. I'll just wait. That way I ain't gotta waste my money. I'm over here paying a subscription. Nah, better bet. I was like, that's how I've been. And you know, I was faithful. I used to go sometimes twice or three times to see a movie. Now I'm just like, I'll go. I'll probably go once, but Disney Plus. Here we are. Anyway, that's just a little bit of my 2 cents on the whole Marvel decline and things like that. If you agree, disagree, got anything else to add, hey, let me know. But if you like any of this, I appreciate it. Thanks. If not, hey, maybe next time. Until then, peace. I'm out.